How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Day Dave, and this is a how to maximize profit from flipping used vehicles video here on Farming Simulator 25. Now, big shout out to Mr. Sealy P. He did a video, I think like 4-ish days ago, and in the video he showed off how you could actually take used vehicles and flip them, meaning that you purchase them and then you can sell them off right away and make a profit, or you can repair them, repaint them, and make an additional profit. Thought that was a really cool idea, and I saw how he was kind of, doing it. It was kind of a high-level overview in his video. What I want to do here today is take a bit of a deeper dive, see if there's any kind of patterns that emerge as we kind of go through and kind of test out what it is that we get in the used market, if there's any kind of things that we ought to look out for, if we're going to go down this line of taking vehicles from the used vehicle section and buying them to sell them off for profit, is there anything that we should avoid? Is there a percent discount that we should, kind of keep an eye on, see if we're going to get a bigger profit margin, things like that. There's going to be kind of several kind of key items that I want to look at in this video. Now, I'm already here in the month of August, and I went ahead and I bought 4 used vehicles already, just so I can kind of give you a taste of what it is I'm talking about. So I bought them, I repaired them, flipped them, did everything, and I took a bunch of notes on them. After I go through what those were, I'm going to go ahead and kind of go simulate month to month and see if we get any used vehicles, buy them, and walk through the process of what it is that it will kind of lead us down in this particular video here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show off which vehicles that were available for me on the testing. I'm going to give kind of the high level overview and then kind of get into the details of the money itself. So starting here, let's go ahead and show them off individually. Under small tractors, I had this one here, the same Virtus 135 RV Shift. This one was in the category of tractors, small tractors. It had 27 months on it, and it was 28.9 working hours on that particular tractor. I bought it in the month of August, and for its price at time of purchase was $50,833. That's a 51% reduction in the price. Now, the selling price, this is the price that it was before I did anything to it, before I repainted it, before I repaired it, anything like that, was $56,447. So that would have given me a profit right off the bat. So literally, I could have bought it here, ran around the back, sold it immediately, didn't do a thing to it for $56,447. That's a profit of $5,614. $5,000 for just buying and selling. Done. Now, I'm going to tell you this. This is my personal opinion right here in this little portion right here. That to me seems very cheaty and broken. At bare minimum, buy it, sell it, and the game should give you your money back. You haven't done anything, you haven't had it for any amount of time, but to give you, almost $6,000 worth of profit right off the bat just to drive it around the corner, that's nuts to me. But you can do it. If you want to make some extra money, you don't want to install the mod like the government subsidy sign or anything like that, you don't want to cheat it in that way, you can do this. Now, the kind of latter portions of this kind of make sense to me. Now, what are those latter portions? It's inputting the repair and repainting costs. Now, you need a bit of money to be able to do all this. It was pretty expensive. So to repair that same tractor, it was $1,443. Then to repaint it, it was $13,764 for a total servicing cost of $15,207. That means all in, I spent on that one tractor was $66,040. Now, after all that was said and done, it offered me to buy that tractor from me $73,176. That is a profit of $7,136, leaving me with a additional price from before repairing and repainting to after repair and paint of a profit of an additional $1,522. So let me kind of break that part down. Before I repaired it, they were offering me $56,447, which gave me a $5,614 profit. After the servicing, $7,136. The difference between those two, $1,522. And throughout this video, I'm going to be throwing up all these numbers on the screen so you can kind of follow along and see what it is that I'm talking about. Now, this second vehicle that was in the used section was this one here, the Cinnabogin 340G. This one, in the telehandler section, had 35 months on it and 25.2 working hours. Bought in the month of August for a used price of $68,722. That is a 52% reduction on its total price. Its selling price before I did any servicing to it whatsoever, $75,572 for a net profit of $6,850. That, again, that's the cheaty price. I think that would be kind of cheaty. Now, the repair and repaint. Repair, $4,384. Repaint, $16,216. Final servicing cost of $20,603. For a total price, total all in, for that particular set of equipment, $89,325. The final sales price after servicing, $98,237 for a grand total profit, $8,912. That is a additional $2,062 from the before servicing to after servicing. So I made an additional $2,000 by actually repairing and repainting. The next item that I purchased was a Kloss header. So it's this one down here, if I can. There we go. This one. It was the Kloss Vario 620 under the Harvest headers. It had 32 months of working time on it, 17.3 working hours, bought in the month of August. Its used price was $20,776. It was a 60% discount. Selling price before servicing was $22,853 for a profit before servicing of $2,077. So again, taking the header, buying it, transporting around the backside of the building, selling it. Done. $2,000. $2,000. Now, if I repaired it, it was asking for $645. To repaint it, $10,162. Total servicing cost of $10,807. Total price spent would have been $31,583 for a total sell price after servicing of $34,732. That's a total profit after servicing of $3,159. That means that between before servicing to after servicing, I would have made an additional $1,082 by servicing the header before selling it. Now, the last one that I got, and this one was the big one. This was the big one. The Krone Big Pack 1290 HD PVC. Square baler had 7 months on it, 6.2 working hours, so very, very early on. Bought in the month of August. Used price of $139,690. That's a 32% reduction in price. Its total sell price before servicing, $154,360. That is a profit of just picking it up, moving it behind the building and selling it of $14,690. That right there really makes me think that are we going to see a much bigger jump in net profitability on younger used equipment? That really makes me wonder. Now, that was the price before servicing. When I serviced it, it gave me a repair cost of $1,945, a repainting cost of $22,670. It is the highest repainting cost out of all 4 items. It wasn't the highest repairing cost. It was actually the second highest. For a total servicing price of $24,615. Now, between the repairing and repainting, it was the highest of the servicing costs. Even though it was the youngest one on the list here, it cost me the most to get it back up to full status. Which means total price that I spent on that particular baler was $164,305. The price that they offered me for that baler after servicing was $181,437. For a total profit, $17,132. Now, the difference between before servicing and after servicing prices, $2,462. So an extra $2,000, almost $2,500 to repair and repaint. So what I'm seeing so far with just these 4 items, it is always better so far to repair and repaint. On just these 4 items, that's what I'm seeing at this point. And what I'm seeing so far is that you are going to get a higher profit margin on younger, non-used vehicles. So that is a very interesting result. I'm actually kind of impressed by that. And it's not even close. The next closest item on price that we got there for profit-wise was the Cinnabogan, the telehandler. But you're talking the difference of almost double. We almost got double the profit on this baler. So that is really, really interesting. So what I'm going to do, because you can see my used vehicles, bought and sold them all, there's nothing in here for me to do. I'm going to skip ahead in time, and I'll bring us back in once I see, I'm going to skip ahead month to month to month, and I'm going to see when a new vehicle pops up in the used vehicle section. When it does, I'll bring us back in, and I'll show you the entire process of what it is that I do and kind of give you the full rundown as it happens. So I'm going to go across the street, go to the next month. We'll see you in September. All right, so here we are. We are in September, and we do have some new used items. As you can see, we have an International Series 200, a FarmTech VarioFX 750, a Kubota SVL 972, and a Krone Swadro TS 970. All of these are pretty deeply discounted. As you can see, the youngest one that we have available here, that's 16 months, that's 36 months, 25 months, and 37 months. So it looks like 16 months is the youngest of these ones. So I'm curious, this might be the most to repair and to repaint and all that, but are we going to see the highest profit margin from this item because it's the youngest of the lot here? So what I'm going to do, we're going to start out with this one. So I will cut us out. I will bring us back in once I kind of take all my notes, figure everything out from there, and then, kind of get it all set up. So give me just a few seconds. All right, so here's all the items that I was able to get in the used market. So we're going to start here with the pickup truck. Go ahead and fire this up and take it around the back. So we're going to do this one kind of in real time so we can kind of see how it goes, and you can kind of see the process as I'm explaining and doing. So come around here. All we did was buy it. We just bought it at its base price. We didn't add any options or anything along those lines. So we bought this particular truck for $14,644. Right now it's worth $16,000. Wait, what? How much did I say? I'm sorry. $14,644 is what we bought it for. It's now worth, just by driving it behind the building, $16,108. So $16,108. That is a profit before servicing of $1,464. That's just to drive it from the front to the back. That's it. That's all we've done to this point. Now, to repair it is $214. To repaint it, it's $2,851. So that is a total servicing price of $3,065. Let's go ahead and do that. And now we increased its value up to $19,480. Now, the total total servicing price was $3,065. Total price spent up until this point was $17,709. So if they're going to offer us $19,480, that means that to come back here, repair, repaint, we would have made $1,771. Now, the difference between the pre-service and post-service prices is $307. So we made an additional $307 just by repairing and repainting. So that's money. That's money in the bank. Let's go to the next one. So we've got this trailer here. Now, I don't think this has a hitch. I can't. Now, I did get this tractor here. Let's go ahead and just hook up to the Farm Tech first. We're going to do this in order. Okay. So if we pull around here. Alright. Now the Farm Tech manure spreader. We bought that originally for $12,286. To drive it right back here, we will make $13,516. So 13,513 for a total profit of $1,227. That, I mean, just to drive it back here, you made over $1,000. Now to repair it is $610. To repaint it, $5,732 for a total servicing cost of $6,342. That means that right now you'd be all in for $18,628. So let's go ahead and do that. $20,490 is what they're offering to buy this at. $20,490, which means we would make on this $1,862. Now the total difference pre and post servicing, $635. So to bring it back here, we made an extra $635 to repair and paint this. So sell that off. I mean, it's just it's nuts. It's nuts to me that you can do this, but it kind of like this portion of repairing and repainting makes sense to me. That's something that you could legitimately do, and people do it all the time. You know, they buy a set of equipment, it's not in the most optimal shape or whatever. They'll go take it home, repair it, do everything they possibly can to it, and then turn around and flip it for profit. That makes sense. Now, what doesn't make sense is me just hopping into this Kubota here and then selling it off, like I've been saying a couple of times here. But I think this is kind of cool, and Mr. Sealy Pete kind of pointing this out earlier in his video was really kind of an eye-opener. Alright, so the Kubota here, I originally bought this skid steer for $33,616. To sell it off just by bringing it back here, $36,973. So that's a total profit before doing anything to it of $3,357. That's it. That's it. To repair it, $2,688. And then to repaint it, $14,060. So total servicing price of $16,748. That is a total price spent on this Kubota of $50,364. So let's repair, let's repaint, and now they're going to offer to pay us $55,397. That is a total profit of $5,033. The difference pre to post servicing, $1,676. That's how much we made in addition to just by repairing and repainting. That is awesome. Just awesome. Now, the last one of this group. The Krone Squadro. All right, now the Krone here. Let's see. The Krone, we purchased this for $25,297. That's a 57% discount. And this is the oldest one of the 4 by 1 month. The manure spreader was the second oldest, and the youngest was the International truck. Now, right now, they're offering us $27,822. That is a total profit just to drive it back here of $2,525. To repair this, $1,366. To repaint this, $6,103. Total servicing price of $7,469. Total price spent $32,766. Now to find the final price, $36,039 for a grand total profit of $3,273. Total or difference between pre-service and post-service, $748. $748 that we made in addition to just by servicing. So in this group, the highest profit from these 4 was the, what is this one? This is the Kubota. Gave us the highest profit margin of $5,000, even though it was the second youngest. So far, that tells me that age doesn't necessarily correlate to the amount of profit that you're going to receive. What it seems to be a bigger indicator is the vehicle type. Maybe the vehicle type. The next highest for profit margin, or for profit, was the Squadro, was the windrower there at the end of $3,273, and that was the oldest piece of equipment. So age doesn't seem to correlate between the profit that you're going to get out of anything. So that's very, very interesting. But what I am seeing is there is a kind of nesting between the pre and post service variants. I'm not seeing a lot to correlate. Now, we only have 8 data points right now. 8 data points doesn't mean anything. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go out a full year to see if there's anything that I can find. I'll cut us back in at August. I'll give a full rundown of all the different vehicles and equipment that I've come across and kind of give a high-level overview of what it is I see. If there's any kind of vehicle type that seems to correlate with higher profit margins, if there's age that correlates, if there's anything that kind of seems like it's, kind of jumping out at me, I'll go ahead and let you know. So I will go ahead and cut us out here, and I'll cut us back in as soon as we got some data to look at. We'll see you in a while. All right, so here we are. We are 1 year later in August. We were able to get 32 separate bits of used equipment through the used market. And it was actually really interesting. We've got some pretty interesting data. So as I was going through, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and throw up on the screen right now some graphs, or not some graphs, but some tables of data that I've come up with and aggregated. And what we have here is the months and work time that will kind of break down the number of months that are on each of the individual bits of equipment. And as you can see, the most amount of equipment that I had for this particular breakdown was within 6 months of age. I had 4 sets of equipment, and you can see all the different colors. What this represents, the colors are just the kind of grading between high and low. Green being high, red being low. So in column B, you'll see that that is the number of the individual items within that month range. So in this case, I had 4 6 months, 1 7 month, 2 8 month, and so on and so forth. In column C, we have the sum of the before service profit. And what we have here is the largest amount being in the 6-month category. But what I have to take into account is that there were 4 separate items that are going to drive that value up. Same thing with the after service. That's going to be driven up because there's 4. But if we look in columns E and F, E is the before profit average. And what that shows is that it's actually kind of middle of the pack, where we actually had the highest average was down here at the 26-month range. But this data is kind of being thrown askew because we have a range of different types of equipment that are going to kind of drive up values, drive down values, and so on and so forth. So there's no really good correlation between the amount of months or age of the used equipment and the amount of profit that you're going to get out of it. It might be kind of relative, but I'm not seeing a strong correlation between the age versus the amount of profit you're going to get out of it. The next table I'm going to show is the kind of discount, which is going to correlate somewhat to the age of the vehicle. You're going to get a higher discount based on the older age of the vehicle. So again, similar to the data before, we're not going to see a huge correlation between the amount of profits that you get versus the amount of discount that you get. Now, what I will say is that for the most part, you can kind of see when you're looking at the averages, so columns E and F, that's again the before service profit and the after service profit. So when you're looking at that, you can see that it does tend to clump up for the most part at the lower end of the discount range. So you're getting higher profits out of the less discounted equipment. So the newer equipment is going to give you more profits. But the problem with this again is that we have those various different items that are going to shuffle in and drive up and down the values, the averages, throughout this whole kind of process. So you could have a harvester that was super profitable that is driving up the lower end spectrum when everything else that was in that spectrum or was within that category was like hand tools or inserts low value item here. It's just one of those that it's not really a good correlative graph here. But the one that I'm most interested in, which probably should have made the most sense right out the gate, is when I filtered by category. So looking at categories, this is where you can see the strongest correlation. The more expensive equipment that you find used is going to give you the most profit. I.e., if you have a root harvester that was, regardless of its discount, regardless of its age, because of the higher price that is available for it, you're going to be able to then give it more in the ways of repairs, more in the ways of repainting, and it's going to just buff up and drive up the values from there. So looking at the root harvesters, we made almost $100,000 after services. Almost $100,000. It's $96,000. But when you look at the averages, look at that. It's over $48,000 when you look at the average. So that is a strong correlation that if you see a root harvester on there and you want to make the most bang for your buck, grab it, repair it, sell it, and you'll make a good, healthy profit regardless of the age of the vehicle. Same thing with things like cotton harvesters. Again, it's going to require a lot of capital up front. It's going to require hundreds of thousands of dollars. But you're going to get tens of thousands of dollars in profit. So, for an example, I came across a John Deere CP690. So it's the round baler John Deere. Now let's show it here on screen. Let's see, there it is. So it's this one here, the CP690. I had this one. Let me highlight it here on the screen. It was 25 months old. 15.7 working hours. So it's not terribly old, but it's not, young either. This came around in the month of May, and it was used for $449,583. It was a almost 46% discount. This is a pretty good discount. To sell it right away, before any services, I would have gotten $494,505. That is a profit before even touching it of $44,922. For one piece of equipment, I could have made almost $45,000. Then, if I would have repaired it, it would have cost me $15,203. To repaint it would have been $93,239. Extremely expensive. Final services costs $108,442,000. For a grand total price for that used equipment of $558,025. So to sell it after services would have gotten me $613,792. That is now a grand total profit after services of $55,767. That is a difference between pre-services and post-services of $10,845. So you make an extra $10,000, almost $11,000 just by painting and repairing. But again, you need to have, in this scenario, almost $560,000 on hand to be able to do all this. But if you have $560,000, you can then turn it around and make $55,000, almost $56,000. That's incredible. So that's what you're looking for. When you are here in the used vehicle market, you want to find things like this, the big ticket items, because it is going to give you the biggest bang for your buck, regardless of the amount of discount that you get. Again, I will show you this one right here for $153,000. Let's go ahead and write all this stuff down. So we've got the Ropa, and it is how many months of age? It is why am I not saying? Oh, it's not in this screen. It is 29 months. 29 months. That's pretty old, and it's got 30.6 working hours. We are back in August, and a purchasing price of $153,946. That has a 58% discount. And now let's go ahead and buy it. We'll go ahead and just take this right on back and just sell it right away. Or not go to sell, but you know what I'm saying. We're going to see the price that we'll get just by bringing it back here. Just by moving it, 20 feet. $169,000. $169,315. For a profit, just by moving it back here, of $15,369. Total price to repair, $12,850. Repaint, $64,944. Now, if I do that, $254,886 for now a grand total profit after the repairs of $23,146. 23 grand. And again, a difference pre-service to post-service of $7,777. So in doing all of this, I have found that it is always better, always, to repair and repaint. I have yet to find a single scenario that has proven otherwise, up and down the spectrum, from front loader tools to forage harvest headers to tractors, whatever it may be. Every single time it has been more profitable. You get more money out of the repairing or paint than you do if you just take it back there. But again, that means you're going to have more money on hand to be able to accommodate for those repairs and repaints. So it's one of those that you can start out small and you'll make small profits, but eventually you'll start getting into those bigger and bigger items, and eventually you're going to start making bigger and bigger profits. And that's what's going to be the difference maker, is finding those big items, those big ticket items. Again, I saw no correlation, nothing like really stood out to me for any of the other metrics that I was looking for, whether it was time on the equipment, the discount that was given. The only thing that really kind of was consistent was the type of vehicle that you're purchasing. So yeah, small equipment, small profits. Big equipment, big profits. That's what is important. So that's it. That is everything. And like I said, I will go ahead and display all these things that I found throughout this entire go through here. So if you want, you'll be able to pause the screen, be able to look at each and every single one of these various categories, all the kind of things that I found throughout my testing. And again, this is my testing. It is going to be different for every single one of us out there, because we're going to get different items throughout every single one of our months that we play. We're going to have different mods, and then those mods will come into the used market. So all this stuff will kind of throw things off from this kind of base level kind of system check. So just kind of keep that in mind. But these are kind of the overall prescriptives that I've been able to find in order to walk through this level of testing. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that it was, kind of an eye-opener, because like I said, when I saw Mr. Sealy P push out that video a couple of days ago regarding used vehicles and being able to turn a profit, I really wanted to go into this deep dive to see not only just how profitable we're talking here. Oh, and that also reminds me, before I get going from this video, in the 1 year that I simulated, I had a total profit pre-services of $308,405. That's the total amount of money back into my pocket by just buying and taking the equipment behind the vehicle shop here to sell it immediately. $308,000 in 1 year. Again, that's going to be different for everybody out there, because they're going to get different sets of equipment in the sale market. But post services went from 308 to 398. That is a difference of $90,000. $90,420 just by repairing and repainting. By taking 2 extra seconds to go into the menu that you have to go into anyways and clicking 2 extra buttons. That was it. Almost $100,000 extra. That completely blew my mind at how much more it was over the span of a year. So you can make almost $400,000. That's almost $500,000. At least that's what I was able to do in the span of 1 year. That is amazing. That is a really viable way, although, again, part of it could be cheating if all you do is just driving in the back. But that's on you. You play your game how you want to play it. You want to be a used vehicle dealer, you go for it. You go for it. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please show them by liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, doing all the things. The algorithms enjoy you doing the shows. You're engaged with this channel, enjoying the content. And that being said, I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care.